The noise around Glasgow after the latest Old Firm clash is still echoing through the city, and for Rangers supporters, it is the kind of sound you never want to fade. A derby that began with tension and uncertainty ended in authority, conviction, and a reminder that this fixture can turn on moments of bravery and belief. Rangers walked away with a 3-1 victory that felt heavier than just 3 points because of how it unfolded and what it revealed about the direction this team is heading in the middle of a demanding season. Before even getting into the drama of the match itself, there has been movement behind the scenes that reflects how the club is managing its future. Josh Gentles has been sent back out on loan to Alloa as part of the cooperation agreement between the two clubs. After a spell at Wraith Rovers earlier in the campaign that brought appearances but no goals, the decision has been made to give him regular minutes again in familiar surroundings. He already knows the Indo Drill Stadium well, having spent time there last season, and found the net on several occasions. At his age, playing every week matters far more than sitting on a bench, and Rangers clearly see this as a step focused on development rather than short-term headlines. Alongside that, Callum Burnside's stay at Alloa has been extended, and that move has quietly been one of the more positive loan stories this season. Burnside has not just filled a shirt, he has influenced games with pace and directness, contributing goals and assists while becoming a trusted part of the side. For a young winger, learning to handle responsibility and expectation is invaluable, and Rangers will be pleased to see him growing in an environment where he is relied upon rather than protected. Back on the pitch at Ibrox, the derby itself told a story of two halves that could not have been more different. The opening period was uncomfortable for Rangers. Celtic had control of possession, found space too easily, and took the lead through a moment of individual brilliance that left the home side chasing shadows. Rangers struggled to impose themselves, second balls were being lost, and the structure did not function the way it was intended. There was a sense that if nothing changed, the afternoon could slip away. What happened after the break was the true turning point. Rangers emerged with a different edge, a sharper press, and a clearer plan. The midfield balance shifted, the intensity rose, and suddenly Celtic looked less secure. Winning duels became a priority, and instead of recycling the ball safely, Rangers began to play forward with purpose. The equaliser arrived early in the second half, changing the mood inside the stadium in an instant. Confidence surged, belief spread, and the pressure swung firmly the other way. From there, Rangers sensed vulnerability and went for it. The second goal came from assertive play and composure in front of goal, and by the time the third hit the net, the contest felt decided. Celtic, so composed before the interval, looked rattled and unsure. Rangers, who had appeared hesitant earlier, were now aggressive, organized, and ruthless. It was not just a comeback, it was a statement of intent. After the match, the Rangers head coach did not hide from the fact that the first half belonged to Celtic. He accepted responsibility for the initial setup and made it clear that the real positive lay in the response. The changes made at halftime were about solutions, not anger. Adjusting the midfield, pressing in a different way, and committing to playing forward immediately after regaining possession transformed the game. The players executed those instructions with conviction, and the reaction was exactly what the coaching staff had been demanding. There was also praise for the mentality shown by the squad. Coming back from a goal down in a derby of this magnitude is never easy, especially when the opponent has enjoyed dominance early on. The belief to stick to the plan, adapt within the match, and trust each other speaks volumes about the mindset developing within the group. Individual performances stood out, particularly in the attacking third, but the emphasis remained on the collective effort and the structure that allowed those moments to happen. Beyond the derby bragging rights, the wider picture in the league has shifted, drawing level on points with Celtic and closing the gap to the team at the top has injected fresh belief into the title race. Momentum, however, is fragile, and the message from the Rangers camp has been consistent. One big win means nothing if it is not followed up. Consistency, game by game, is what will define the season, not a single emotional afternoon. The coach has been clear that enjoyment of the victory is allowed, but focus must quickly turn to the next challenge. These matches create stories, but only sustained performances turn stories into success. The belief within the squad has been evident since his arrival, with players open to new ideas and willing to put in the work required to improve. Creating momentum is about stacking good habits, not living off past results. What this derby ultimately revealed was resilience. Rangers were tested, found wanting for a period, but responded in the strongest possible way. The willingness to adapt tactically, the hunger to win battles, and the collective drive after the interval showed a group that is buying into a shared vision. With supporters fully behind them and confidence building, the real challenge now lies in proving that this performance was not an isolated peak, but the foundation for what comes next. As the dust settles on that derby afternoon, the conversation around Rangers is no longer just about one dramatic turnaround, but about what it signals in a season that still has plenty of twists ahead. Inside the dressing room, there is an awareness that moments like these can either lift a group to another level or fade quickly if standards drop. The coaching staff have been clear that the second half performance set a benchmark and not a highlight, real to be admired from a distance. The intensity, the organization, and the directness shown after the break are now the reference point for everything that follows. What stood out most was how quickly Rangers learned within the match. Celtic changed their approach. Rangers struggled initially, and then the response came through adjustment rather than panic. The shift in midfield control altered the rhythm of the game entirely. Passing lanes closed, pressure arrived earlier, and the opposition were forced into decisions they did not want to make. That ability to read a match and react is something Rangers supporters have been craving, especially in fixtures where fine margins decide outcomes. The players themselves have spoken internally about responsibility. In games of this magnitude, instructions from the touchline matter, but so does leadership on the pitch. Voices became louder in the second half. Distances between the lines tightened, and there was a visible hunger to compete for every loose ball. Those details often get lost in the excitement of goals, yet they are exactly what turned the contest around. Rangers stopped waiting for the game to come to them and instead went out and took control. There has also been a noticeable shift in confidence among the attacking players. After the equalizer, the movement off the ball became sharper and the decision-making quicker. Rather than hesitating, Rangers played with conviction, trusting that chances would come if they kept pushing forward. That belief can be transformative, especially in a squad that has been searching for consistency. Confidence breeds bravery, and bravery is often the difference in matches of this intensity. Looking ahead, the league table tells a story of renewed possibility. Being level on points with their closest rivals and we're within touching distance of the summit changes the psychology of the run-in. Every match now carries added weight, and there is little room for complacency. Rangers know that teams will raise their level against them, particularly after a statement win in the derby. Maintaining focus through that pressure will be the true test of progress. Training sessions following the match have reportedly been sharp, with an emphasis on repeating the behaviors that defined the second half performance. Winning duels, playing forward quickly after regaining possession, and staying compact without the ball are not optional extras. They are the foundation. The message is simple. Effort and organization are non-negotiable, regardless of the opponent or the occasion. Supporters have felt a renewed connection with the team as well. The atmosphere during the comeback was electric, and that bond between the stands and the pitch can be a powerful force when harnessed correctly. Rangers have spoken about using that energy as fuel rather than relying on it to rescue them. Strong starts rather than dramatic recoveries are the aim going forward. Away from the spotlight of the first team, the club's approach to developing young players continues to reflect long-term thinking. The loan moves for players like Gentles and Burnside underline a commitment to growth through game time and responsibility. Rangers understand that success is not built overnight, and that depth and development will be crucial as the season stretches on. These decisions may not grab headlines on match day, but they shape the squad of tomorrow. The derby win also reinforced the importance of adaptability in modern football. Sticking rigidly to one idea can leave a team exposed when circumstances change. Rangers showed that flexibility does not mean abandoning principles, but adjusting how those principles are applied. Pressing higher, altering midfield roles, and being more direct were all changes made within the same overall philosophy, and they paid off. There is a sense that belief within the squad is growing, not just because of the result, but because of how it was achieved. Overcoming a difficult first half required honesty, clarity, and trust in the process. Those qualities are being demanded every day now, not just in big games. The challenge is to carry that mindset into fixtures that may not come with the same noise or emotion, where discipline and patience are just as vital. As Rangers move deeper into the season, the narrative will continue to evolve. Each match adds another layer to the story, another opportunity to prove that this team is capable of sustaining high standards. The derby may have provided a spark, but what follows will determine whether that spark becomes something lasting. Because in this league, momentum is earned week by week, and nothing is given without a fight. The focus now inside the club has shifted toward maintaining standards when the spotlight is not as bright. Big derby wins can lift emotions, but the true measure of a side chasing consistency is how they respond in the quieter moments that follow. Rangers know that opponents will study that second half closely, looking for ways to disrupt the rhythm that overwhelmed Celtic. That means preparation becomes even more detailed, with an emphasis on anticipation rather than reaction. One of the key themes being reinforced is tempo. In the first half of the derby, Rangers allowed the game to be played at a pace that suited the opposition. After the interval, everything accelerated, from the press to the speed of passing. That change did not happen by chance. It came from a collective decision to be braver on the ball and more aggressive without it. Carrying that tempo into every match, regardless of venue or opponent, is now a central objective. There is also an understanding that control does not always mean possession. Rangers showed that by choosing the right moments to go direct, They could stretch the pitch and create space where none seemed available earlier. The balance between patience and urgency is delicate but when it is right, the team looks far more dangerous. And players are being encouraged to recognize those moments instinctively, trusting their judgment rather than playing within themselves. Defensively, the second half offered encouragement as well. Organization improved, distances tightened, and communication became clearer. When Celtic attempted to regain control, they found fewer passing options and less time to think. Rangers forced mistakes not through reckless pressing, but through coordinated movement and awareness. That level of concentration must become routine, because lapses at this stage of the season can undo weeks of hard work. The psychological side of the game is just as important. Confidence gained from a comeback like that can be powerful, but it needs to be channeled correctly. Rangers are aware that confidence without discipline can quickly turn into complacency. The coaching staff have stressed that belief should sharpen focus, not relax it. Every training session, every tactical meeting is being treated as an opportunity to reinforce habits rather than celebrate past success. Within the squad, competition for places has intensified. Performances like those seen in the derby raise expectations across the board, and no one can afford to drift. That internal pressure is healthy when managed well, pushing standards higher and ensuring that intensity does not drop. Rangers want selection decisions to be difficult based on form and contribution rather than reputation. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Whispers around Ibrox suggest a surprising name is edging closer to Glasgow, with JOÁO FÉLIX increasingly linked to Rangers as talk gathers pace across the continent. Nothing has been signed, nothing confirmed, yet the word is that the Portuguese forward has been swayed by a European vision that feels bolder than many expected from the Scottish Premiership. Sources close to the situation hint that Felix has been listening carefully to a pitch built less on wages and more on purpose, minutes, and the promise of being the face of something growing. The idea being floated is that Rangers see Felix not as a short-term headline, but as a cornerstone of a continental push. The club's project, so the story goes, centers on attacking football, regular exposure on the European stage, and a squad shaped to let creative players express themselves without the constant churn found elsewhere. For a footballer whose career has drifted between flashes of brilliance and spells of uncertainty, the chance to reset in a demanding but supportive environment appears to carry weight. Those in the know reckon the Gers' stature, history, and packed stands have also played their part. Ibrox on a big European night is said to have been painted vividly in conversations, a stage where reputations can be rebuilt and enhanced. The Scottish game's physical edge is viewed not as a drawback, but as a challenge that could sharpen Felix's craft and steel. There is also talk that Rangers' recruitment team see the move as mutually beneficial. A revived JOÁO FÉLIX would lift the league's profile, draw eyes from abroad, and underline the club's ambition to compete beyond domestic borders. From the players' side, the narrative of leading a proud club back towards continental relevance has its own romance. For now, it remains a rumor, passed quietly between agents, scouts, and supporters alike. Yet the sense lingers that this is more than idle chat. If the project truly matches the whispers, Rangers may just have convinced one of Portugal's most gifted talents that Glasgow is the right place for the next chapter. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned